By the time Boeing realized what it had truly given up, the skies were no longer entirely under its control. The airplane still carried its name, the factories still stood, the order books were still full, but the power had moved. Not because of a crash, not because of a single flawed aircraft, but because of a quiet boardroom decision that redefined what kind of company Boeing would become. A decision that treated airplanes like financial products, that treated engineering as a cost center, and that bet Boeing's future on the wrong idea of efficiency. This is the story of the airline bet that broke a giant. This is the series where we explore the futures that almost were and the decisions that erased them. For most of the 20th century, Boeing was not just an airplane manufacturer, it was the center of gravity in global aviation. Boeing designed aircraft from the inside out. It controlled the materials, the tolerances, the systems, the integration. Engineering knowledge lived inside the company. It compounded over decades, and it gave Boeing something no balance sheet could capture: authority. Airlines trusted Boeing because it understood airplanes as living systems, how they aged, how they failed, how small changes echoed across thousands of flights. Engineering was not a department, it was the culture. That culture built the jet age, it built the wide-body era, and it made Boeing untouchable. But dominance creates a new problem. Once you control the sky, the pressure is no longer about innovation, it's about predictability. By the 1990s, aviation was changing. Airlines faced thinner margins, competition intensified, shareholders demanded smoother returns. Inside Boeing's leadership, a new logic began to take hold. Why carry so much internal cost? Why design and build everything yourself? Why not let partners absorb risk? Outsourcing wasn't new, but the scale being proposed was. The idea sounded modern, lean, financially disciplined. Boeing didn't need to be a builder anymore. It could become a systems integrator, a manager of suppliers, a capital-efficient giant. And that idea found its perfect test case in one aircraft, the 787 Dreamliner. On the surface, the Dreamliner was a triumph. Composite materials, dramatic fuel savings, a new generation of long-haul efficiency. But structurally, it represented a rupture. For the first time, Boeing would not fully own the airplane. Major sections of the aircraft would be designed and built by global partners, entire systems outsourced, engineering authority dispersed across continents. Boeing would assemble, integrate, manage, but not control every detail. Wall Street loved the promise: lower fixed costs, shared development risk, faster innovation. This wasn't just a new airplane, it was a new corporate philosophy. But aviation does not reward philosophy, it rewards control. Almost immediately, the Dreamliner program began to fracture. Suppliers missed deadlines, components arrived incomplete, systems that were supposed to integrate seamlessly didn't. Instead of reducing complexity, outsourcing multiplied it. Boeing no longer had direct visibility into problems, feedback loops slowed, engineering intuition weakened. When issues appeared, Boeing was forced to intervene, buying suppliers, reabsorbing work, fixing problems it no longer fully owned. Schedules collapsed, costs exploded, trust eroded. The Dreamliner eventually flew, but the damage wasn't measured in months or dollars. It was measured in lost authority. Because once you outsource the core, you don't just lose execution, you lose understanding. And in aviation, understanding is everything. While Boeing struggled to manage its own supply chain, its main competitor was watching closely. Airbus had also embraced global production, but it had drawn a harder line. Suppliers would contribute, but Airbus would retain design authority. Integration would remain centralized. Outsourcing would support the system, not replace it. That difference mattered. As Boeing wrestled with delays and renegotiations, Airbus delivered predictability, not perfection, but reliability. Airlines noticed. Delivery timelines stabilized, confidence grew, and procurement strategies shifted. Slowly, quietly, power began to move. Inside Boeing, the transformation went deeper. The merger with McDonnell Douglas had reshaped leadership priorities. Financial discipline gained influence, engineering voices lost ground. Decisions that once lived on the factory floor now lived in spreadsheets. This wasn't incompetence, it was ideology. A belief that efficiency could substitute for control, that financial optimization could replace institutional knowledge. But airplanes don't forgive abstraction. When engineering intuition fades, problems don't vanish, they compound. Outsourcing accelerated that compounding. When you move work outside, you also move learning. You move accountability. You move instinct. Over time, Boeing became dependent on the very suppliers it once directed. Negotiating schedules, renegotiating contracts, managing risks it had previously eliminated by owning them. The giant that once dictated the terms of aviation now reacted to them. And the shift didn't announce itself with headlines. Planes still flew, orders still came in, the brand still carried weight. But structurally, Boeing had changed. It was no longer the unquestioned center of the system. Meanwhile, Airbus consolidated, not through dramatic breakthroughs, but through structural discipline. It kept authority where it mattered, and in doing so, it became the safer long-term bet. Airlines diversified, governments reassessed trust, and Boeing's dominance quietly eroded. The tragedy of Boeing's bet is that it wasn't reckless. It followed the logic of its time: globalization, efficiency, shareholder value. But airplanes are not consumer products, and aviation does not tolerate loss of control. You can't outsource accountability at 35,000 feet. By the time Boeing fully grasped the cost of its decision, the industry had already adapted. Power had moved, not suddenly, but permanently. Boeing didn't collapse, it diminished, through decisions that seemed rational in isolation, but devastating in combination. This is how giants lose control in modern industries, not through failure, but through surrendering what must never be surrendered. There was a time when airlines themselves owned the skies outright, when their logos meant power, reach, and authority. That era ended the same way, quietly, structurally, through misplaced confidence. And the story of Boeing belongs to that same lineage. Because in aviation, the sky doesn't belong to those who build the most airplanes, it belongs to those who control how airplanes are built.